Yeah, let's recap week 0 just a little bit. No games that we would most likely spend a whole lot of time on if they were during a regular week, but like you said, it was actual football on our TVs. The notable game, of course, Nebraska and Northwestern in Ireland.
Yeah.
Nebraska was like a 13-point favorite and blew it, as we have become used to with this Nebraska team. Northwestern wins at 31-28. Any major takeaways from you on this? Obviously, it's week 0. You don't want to overreact too much, but it does feel like there are some things here that we could talk about.
Well, and something that we're going to want to talk about, and something I think everyone has just roundly criticized Scott Frost on, is the onside kick there where they were up by, I think they were up 11, or
Yeah.
they were up 2 scores and had all the momentum they did, and he onside kick, they don't get it. And then Scott Frost has kind of been bashed for that ever since. And he even took the blame in the press conference afterward. Like, that's on me. I wouldn't do that again. But
Yeah.
like, I'm just maybe come to his defense a little bit. It wasn't a terrible strategy, because if you saw, if like, it didn't work out. Like, so worst case scenario, yeah, it didn't work out. But I guess what I'm saying is Northwestern was probably going to score against them anyway, because Nebraska could not stop the run. Like, they hadn't really they got completely mauled up front by a really good Northwestern offensive line. I think that was maybe more what I took from the game. Ryan Helensky, quarterback for Northwestern, played just out of his mind. I thought he played probably the best game or one of the best games that he's ever played.
There's no way he's actually that good.
Well, yeah, maybe not. But like, I even thought Casey Thompson played well, quarterback for Nebraska. Sure. He at least started hot, and I will say, like, they felt like they got him out of rhythm a little bit, and towards the end, like where they really needed some drives for some scores, he had 2 late picks, and it put the game away. That was tough to see. I will say overall, it was tough to watch. Like, I was rooting for Nebraska. I kind of bought into the fact that they were a good football team. Like, statistically, last year they were actually a pretty good football team that somehow they just couldn't get the right bounce of the ball, and that just continued. And like, that happened again this week, and it was like, oh my, like, how does this keep going? Just, like, it was a tip pass from Thompson there on a potential game-winning drive that just goes right to a Northwestern linebacker. And it was like that. It's new year, but same story. And that's probably what I took from it. There's some positives for Nebraska. It's not all burning down. I think Thompson is going to be, he's definitely going to be better than the quarterback they had last year. It was definitely an upgrade. And like, they could run the ball. They really could. Anthony Grant I think he had two touchdowns and ran for over 100 yards. There are some positives to take away. Wow. They have to come up with some big wins, though. Like, in this schedule, like, they're going to have to beat like an Oklahoma or someone for Scott Frost to keep his job. Like, they're going to need to upset somebody. I don't think they're going to be able just to roll through, go 5-7 or 6-6, and everyone's just going to be okay with it. Like, they need to actually beat someone, and this was the first step. And a very winnable game for them, and they did not get it done. It was hard to watch for me.
Yeah, I'm going to zag on you just a little bit on the onside kick thing. I think the way you just said it, like, they were having trouble stopping Northwestern. Northwestern might score there regardless. I think I would agree with that for a normal team in a normal circumstance. For Nebraska, their whole thing is they've got this giant monkey on their shoulders where they cannot hold on to a lead. And when that happened, it just felt like it didn't matter that Northwestern scored or not. It didn't matter. Like, Nebraska could have gotten a stop there, and it still would have felt shit. Like, all of the momentum just like left them, and it just felt like, oh, that's the mistake that loses the game. Nebraska always makes a mistake that loses the game. That was it right there. And the offense wasn't even the same after that. Like, they were out of rhythm. It just felt like it was just kind of the here we go again thing. And I think, if that's a normal team, I would agree with you. Like, that wasn't the most horrible spot to go for an onside kick. I think just because of some of the dynamics with Nebraska specifically, I think it was pretty bad. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know.
Well, kind of where I was coming from is you have a chance to win. Like, if you recover that onside kick, the game is probably over, and you're like, no one expected it at that point. So you do have an element of surprise. That's as good of of odds as you can get for recovering an onside kick is when no one's expecting it. Yeah, like it didn't go their way. So in hindsight, it was the wrong call. But like I would just where I'm coming at it is just defending him a bit, saying that like they have a chance to go win a game and they tried, they attempted to, and it wasn't just the onside kick that lost them the game. I think it was the late interceptions and just not being able to stop the run at all.
Yeah, and I also felt like there was a fumble call early in the game that went against them that I think was probably incorrect.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think my point with that was I'm trying not to play the results on it. My thinking is if they kick it off and Northwestern goes 75 yards in 9 plays and gets a touchdown, I don't like that. To me, that would just feel normal. That would not have taken out any. Like they would have still had a lead and it would have felt normal. Like it wouldn't have been the huge deflating moment, even though the scoreboard would have been exactly the same. I think that the fact that they tried it and it like there was just too much to lose there. In other words, that's just my read on it. I could be completely wrong. Regardless, you did talk about how like it's not completely over for this Nebraska team. One thing I was a little disappointed in was their defense. They just didn't seem like they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't really stop the pass either. Last year they were really good defensively. That's what kept them in so many games. This was not that. It was a bit iffy. Maybe they turned it around. Maybe it's just early season. Teams struggle with tackling and things like that.
Sure.
Maybe, hopefully that's what it is. But it did seem like maybe they weren't getting a very good push either. My thinking is if you're Nebraska, you really don't want to go 7-5 this year. Like you either want it to be very clear that he needs to go, or you want it to be very clear, oh, they like won the division and they came back from that horrible week 0 loss to Northwestern. Like it has to be one or the other. If it's 7-5, he's probably gone. But then it's a little more iffy. So I think they're looking for some clarity going forward.
Yeah, I think personally they're going to need to beat like a Michigan, Wisconsin, or an Iowa, or like I mentioned earlier, an Oklahoma, for them to really feel confident about Frost. Like they need to beat someone that they're not supposed to beat because they've lost some games that they're not supposed to lose. So something needs to make up for that.
Yeah, either something like that or literally win every single game that you are not a huge underdog in. And that might get you to 8-4. I don't know. But regardless, let's move on. That's enough about Northwestern and Nebraska. I just want to mention real quick, Vanderbilt beats Hawaii 63-10.
Yeah.
They were like a 9-point favorite or something in this game. And I don't know, my guy Clark Lee, our guy Barton Simmons, like there's a little bit of proof of concept. Vanderbilt is still the dregs of the SEC, but it's good to see them actually handling their business.
Well, it's hard to put up 63 points against anyone. So
Sure.
I don't care if it was Duluth Middle School. Like it's noteworthy, and it's tough to do in modern college football, especially for Vanderbilt. This is really difficult to do. And credit to them. It may be like you saw all their players, they got like really pumped up. I watched this game just a little bit. Like their guys were getting all jacked up, especially there in the third quarter. And it was like, this might be the only time this year that they get to do that. So, and if they want any hope of cashing their season win total of 3, they really need this Hawaii win. So credit to Vanderbilt. This may be one of the few times they won by. I mean, that's significant. I think the margin of victory was enough just to make a note of.
I heard someone say that's like where you come out there and say, we might be a lot worse than say Alabama, but we're still closer to Alabama than you are to us.
Yeah, there you go.
And there were some things there, like they gave up a touchdown on the very first drive of the game, I believe, for Hawaii. So they were down 7-0, and after that, it was that Hawaii couldn't get anything. So their defense did look improved, I thought, just from my untrained eye, not having actually watched that much Vanderbilt last year. And Mike Wright, at the very least, the man is very fast and explosive, like at their quarterback. I don't know that he'll be completing 65% of his passes this year, but he will make some spectacular plays. So there's something there.
We may have undervalued them just a little bit. We can say that after one game. We
both took the over on 2.5, and I feel better about it now than I did before that game.
So much better. If they better get this by the end of September because it gets difficult after that.
That's right.